Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to go over how to use Overleaf to merge 3 separate documents into one. This can be useful if you are writing a dissertation, for instance, and you have written different papers throughout your time during your PhD, and you can use Overleaf to basically edit one paper individually, and it will be updated in the main document. So in Overleaf, you will have your different papers that you're writing. For instance, if over your PhD you've written 2 or 3 papers, you may have those also in Overleaf, but if you want to combine those into one dissertation document, you will of course create a project. For these, I just did a blank project and named it, for instance, main dissertation topic, dissertation document, and then pressed create. Essentially, I'm left with this screen here, and one of the things I learned about Overleaf as I began to use it was that it's better to set up your documents so that you are adding data into this main text file, or whichever file you set to compile, whichever document you have set the main document to be compiled from. So here, that's this main.txt file, which is here. And if I wanted to add a section from one of those other papers, I would go to new file, and from another project I'm going to add the file that has to do with the data that I want to add to my dissertation. So for the first paper there, that's in Overleaf, I'll click on that one, and now it's going to ask for the file that I want to import from my first paper. Here it's saying to select a file, but there are no other files within this paper, first paper, because I have not set that up just yet. But I wanted to start there to show how why it's important to set up the documents in this way that I'm about to explain. So say for instance in paper 1, you begin writing. You have your main.txt file, which is the default that's created when you create your Overleaf document. And one of the best practices that I have seen, or the best things to do, is to create a file where most of the content will stay. So I'll call this file key content, or main content rather, and I'll say paper 1 just to distinguish it from the others. So I'll create that, and then in this document I will add the content of the paper. So the abstract, the abstract can be its own separate file as well, but for this main content of the paper, you may have the intro as its own section, and other sections of the paper, like methods, etc. And so we're just adding some random text. Now if I go to the main document, I can then include those here by using the include command and typing in that file name. So now that I've included this in the main.txt file, when I recompile this, I should get the next sections. And there they are. So as I put in the main content of paper one file, the intro and the methods section, that information is compiled in this paper one document. So now if I go back and come back to my main dissertation document here, I can then add a file. So I would take a similar approach here, but instead of creating a new file, I'll upload from or get a file from another project. So we created the 3D printing project. From there, I now have this file from the main content of that paper, and I can rename it rename the file in my current dissertation document, but I'm going to keep it the same name. So I'll do that. And so now here, that document is connected to the main text, or the main dissertation document. And now if I want to add that section here, I will say include, and now I'll add the main content paper one. Let's see. So now, as we can see, that has been added. So here, the main file in my dissertation document is reading the content from that first paper directly from its file. So here, when I'm in my main dissertation document, I can't edit the file. All I can do is refresh it. And this is good because I don't want to make edits here and those not be reflected in the individual paper itself. So it's good that I can't edit the document here, because then I'll have two different versions of the same information and it will be just a big mess. But for instance, if I add another section, if I go back and add another section to paper one, so going back to the paper one on 3D printing, I can, I remember to make all of my changes in this main content file. And say I want to add a section on results. The results of the 3D study are ... And I'll write that out here. I can even recompile within my paper one document. And so now I've got the intro. What is this? The intro to, just to differentiate these two intros. All right, so you got intro one, intro two, methods, and then the results section, which I just added. And remember, this is in paper one. So if I go back to my main dissertation document and I want the changes from that paper to be transferred to this paper, I'll come back here to the file that's referring to that project and refresh. And as we can see, the intro has changed, and also the results are now added. Results of 3D printing study are. Now that that's refreshed, I'll come here and recompile. So now I'll have that results section from my other paper. And basically what this does is it allows you to, as I mentioned in this graphic, you can make changes in each paper individually without worrying about conflicting changes. Because you're doing this import step within the main dissertation document, there's only one direction that changes can go. You can only make changes in your individual papers and then refresh in the main document so that there are no conflicting changes or anything like that. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss part 2 where I talk about linking images between files.